wake up in the morning, I'm focused in on what really matters. And these rappers still chatter as if it even matters. Stack money like books, I'm on my next chapter. Cause at the end of the day, what are you really after? 5% of my salary goes to charity. I'm engaged to success. Who'd have known it would marry me? Put your shoes on, you surrounded by some dream chasers who do whatever just to ration out this green paper. Cigars and champagne, pretty women with new perms, parties and presidential suites like I'm going for 2 terms. My new slogan of the years, might as well try it. Got the money, can't afford it, might as well buy it. For my people, as far as family go, I switched the game up, I learned that from Andrico. The only thing I need in my life tonight is cheap, so bust a switch it up like here we go.
Ready for that weekend party, hands up, man, we ain't tryna hurt nobody. Need another drink, so we got you. Girl, you need another shot of hand with that vodka. Got you like, yeah, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. She said she don't really need love, she just cool here with all of us, yeah.
Tonight we celebrating success, so lift your glasses up. Relish in these moments reflective on when they passed us up. Now they ask for us, popular demanded, cause my mind be dropping diamonds and my conversations candid, and none of this was handed. We got it from the bottom, came a long way from sugar water and ramen noodles. Now it's linguine, rotini, and fettuccine, Pinot Grigio, Merlot, Malbec, and Sangiovese. La Costa Nostra, you looking at some made men. To think it all came from trapping out that day's in. Now we lounging in the loft, living the sweet life. We get retreating just to party, this the sweet life. Grind hard to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Put God first in his paper, so I am viewed in his favor. And highly blessed, but humbled by my success. Cause I remember when I had less.
Ready for that weekend party, hands up, man, we ain't tryna hurt nobody. Need another drink, so we got you. Girl, you need another shot of hand with that vodka. Got you like, yeah, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. She said she don't really need love, she just cool here with all of us, yeah.
I want you to put the word out there that we back up. Understand me? We back up.
Let's go! What's good, ladies and gentlemen? This is John Farmer from the One Carolina Show, and I am joined by a super special guest, one of the hosts of the longest running Panther podcast, the C3 Panther Podcast, my man, Cody Lachney. What's good, homie?
Big John, how are you, man? I'm so happy to be on the show with you tonight. You have a great mind for Panthers football, and I always look forward to our discussions, man. I'm excited for tonight, and thank you for having me on, bro.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Nowhere I'd rather be than talking Panther football on a Thursday, man. So
hey, I like that.
Let's get right to it.
Let's
So, a lot of moves been made, man. We see, just recently something that happened. Deontay Foreman signed a 1-year deal with the Chicago Bears, man. I want to get your quick reaction to that.
Yeah, good for him, man. I mean, look, I feel like there's an exodus of Panther players going to Chicago. You know, DJ Moore is going up there. I believe P.J. Walker is going up to the Bears, now Foreman. Listen, it makes it all easier, the fact that we just signed Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders is a really good running back. And if I'm being honest, I think physically he frankly has some better tools than Foreman, whereas Foreman is just a downhill pounder. He was fantastic behind our offensive line. Mm-hmm. And I wish him the best, man. It's just I have this thing about running backs, and you might have heard me say this before, but I believe that the NFL has proven that you can continuously find good running backs through the draft.
I would agree.
And even undrafted. Even though we signed Miles, I still wouldn't mind taking another flyer, maybe in the later rounds, grabbing another running back just to load up and have a consistent backfield of running backs. Overall, I wish him the best, but I feel like with this offensive minded Panthers that we're getting ready to see, I feel like Miles Sanders is a much better fit. So overall, I'm happy, and I'm happy for him, man.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think Miles Sanders looked amazing. I think he had 1,296 yards, I believe it was last year with Philly, and I want to say 5 touchdowns total or something crazy like that. But he looked incredible in that offense, and he's a shiftier back with the ability to catch out the backfield, similar to C-Mac. He's not C-Mac, so don't kill me in the chat. I'm not saying that this guy is C-Mac at all, but what I am saying is that he gives you a lot more options. As far as passes off in the flat, check downs, things like that. Plus, I mean, he's a very downhill runner, for a guy his size, man. So
absolutely.
It's interesting to see, how that shapes out. But, there was a few other moves they made, man, bringing in Hayden Hurst, which I thought was pretty dope. They also brought in Von Bell, which was interesting. And so, and then re-signing Bozeman. I know someone that pointed that out to me in my comments, man, and I appreciate that. And I apologize about not giving Bozeman his flowers, because I think he is a huge, huge acquisition or reacquisition, if you will, for what we're looking to do next year, which is going to, obviously be to establish a run game for this young quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of moves. First, let's start with Hayden Hurst. It's probably been my favorite free agent signing thus far outside of Bradley Bozeman. And look, we're just a bunch of Clemson fans, you and I. But if you're gonna, but you know what? If you're gonna come and work your butt off for the Carolina Panthers, I'm gonna support you, even if you are a Gamecock. I don't care. I'm all about my Carolina Panthers, and I really do feel like Hayden Hurst is probably one of the most underrated tight ends in the NFL. He was a giant part of that Cincinnati Bengals offense last year. Mm-hmm. And in fact, when you compare his stats, it's pretty much even with the entirety of our tight end room production last year. Right?
Which is crazy.
Right. It really is. But it also, it makes it even more impressive considering the Bengals had Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. They had options to be able to spread the football around, and yet they were still feeding my man Hayden, and he was coming up with some incredible catches, some incredible plays, can block on the line of scrimmage, and is fast and nimble running routes. And I think that's going to be something we haven't had from the tight end position in a very long time. Some of the defensive picks, I'm just honestly not too sure about. I know we got our guy Deshaun Johnson from Clemson, Shy Tuttle we got from the Saints. Von Bell is the one that I'm really excited about. Because I really love the physicality of Von Bell. I always have, even from back when he was with New Orleans. I love his physicality, but I do think that it's an interesting question when it comes to him and Jeremy Chin, because they both kind of play the same position. They're that strong box safety kind of a player, and I really don't know what that means for Jeremy Chin and how Ejiro Evero plans to use Jeremy Chin different, or even Von Bell different. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out going forward.
Especially with them re-signing Xavier Woods. Yeah.
Right. So we really don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation about moving Jeremy Chin to linebacker. I know you're a fan of that. I know a lot of people are a fan of that. I don't know if it's going to be an inside linebacker or if they're going to put him as an outside linebacker. And if that's the case, I don't necessarily know how comfortable I would be with Jeremy Chin rushing the passer against, wide set tackles and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's a lot of interesting questions when it comes to the Panthers defense next year.
Yeah. When you see his measurables, I mean, he and Fred Warner are literally maybe 8 to 10 pounds apart, maybe as far as size is concerned. So, obviously, he could put on muscle. He's going to put on more mass as he continues to just grow as a man. But to me, I think instinctually he would be better suited at the linebacker position. Plus, in a 3-4, the middle isn't like the middle would be with the 4-3 with Luke Kuechly. Right. It's a lot different, and so because the concepts are a little bit different. I mean, obviously, you're still going to, you'll still see as an inside linebacker a lot of A-gap blitz, but it just depends on who they send, because you could really send Shaq in that situation and leave him kind of play in the zone, and so I think it'll be real interesting to see, how that shapes out. But obviously the big question, you saw what happened. We all saw what happened, man. We traded picks. We traded DJ Moore to move to the number 1 pick. And I got to ask you, man, like, first, let's just start with this. How do you feel about them moving DJ Moore for that opportunity at number 1?
I felt like if we were so determined that we were going to go up to number 1, I'm happy that they did it the way that they did. I love DJ Moore. I'm so thankful to DJ Moore for everything that he's done for this organization the entire time that he's been here. I'm a firm believer the only reason he isn't mentioned as a top 5 receiver in the NFL is just because he has not been blessed with that consistency at the quarterback position. We were not able to afford him that luxury ever. From hurt Cam Newtons to Taylor Heineke's to Teddy Bridgewater to Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, dude. Too many, man. Too many. And that's why the Panthers made this move.
Yeah.
And, every rumor was that the Bears wanted 3 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I love DJ Moore, I feel like his position is more replaceable than giving up that much future draft capital and abandoning your future quarterback without having the first-round picks. I don't want to put whoever that quarterback is in a scenario where we're kind of treating them like Cam Newton and just not adequately putting the proper weapons around him in his young career while he's on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
So, and look, the fact that we essentially only gave up a first-round pick next year, we gave up a second-round pick this year, but at number 61, that was basically a third-round pick. A 2025 second-round pick. They're spread out enough that none of those draft picks are ever going to single-handedly ruin any one of the drafts for the next 3 years in a row. And yet you're still going to be able to come away, hopefully, with the franchise quarterback at number 1. So, listen, man, I'm loving what Fitterer is doing right now. Maybe I'm just a homer, but I feel like right now he's proving himself to be the brightest young general manager in the NFL right now. He's really making moves. And look, he doesn't get enough credit for the hand that he played in building that Seattle team that went to the Super Bowl. Built up the Legion of Boom. Built up that linebacking core, that defensive line. Had a huge part in drafting Russell Wilson. So Fitterer's the man, and I'm happy that now it feels like he is in control of what the Panthers are doing from a front office perspective.
Right. All right. So then I'm going to ask a macro question, and then we'll micro break it down as we draft. Who do they pick? Let's just get to it. Who do they pick,
man? Who do they pick? Oh, man.
Who do they pick?
That's loaded, man. You just dropped a bomb on me right there.
We can jump right into it, man. I want to know. What you think?
I think if they were going to move up like this, the way that they did, I think that they have Bryce Young number 1 in their mind. However, I don't think that they are so locked in on that opinion that they cannot change their mind before April 27th.
That's right.
There's so much. I said this to you before the show, but once upon a time, Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf were drafted number 1 and number 2. And both of them were very, very highly touted coming out of college. Some even said that Ryan Leaf had a bigger, better upside than Peyton Manning. And we all know how that turned out, man.
Check out your boy. Check out your boy. Hold up.
Okay.
When I say who they gonna pick, check out what your boy said.
Oh, white chocolate. You better go home, bro. You've been drinking too much.
It's hilarious. No, go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
No, man. So I do believe that this is a very important pick. It's, a lot of Panther fans have the mindset of, oh, but they're both real good. So no matter who we come away with, yeah, I'm happy no matter what. And I understand that. If you like both of them, I mean, I like both of them. But I feel like the Panthers cannot look at this from the perspective of, oh, well, they're both real good. So whoever ends up, either or, I don't think that's a good idea. You have to have conviction from moving up to the number 1 pick. Today, Adam Schefter talked about he feels that the Panthers are convicted on Bryce Young Like the 49ers were on Matt Jones.
Yes.
However, the 49ers didn't pick Matt Jones.
That changed their mind.
In my opinion, John, my humble opinion, Bryce Young is probably going to be the number one pick, but it all comes down to, do they feel like his processing ability, his pocket maneuverability, his arm talent, and all of those traits that jump out on the film, is that enough to overcome the concern about him being 5'10", probably 190 pounds maybe? And look, everyone's saying, oh, he weighed 200 at the combine. That man's natural weight is not 200 pounds.
Right.
It just is. And honestly, we don't even know if it's even going to be good for him to play with extra weight. His functional body weight might be 190 pounds, and that's when he's able to play at his best.
Yeah.
And as much as I love the talent, and I promise you I love the talent, I mean, I'm comparing him to a Drew Brees based on his processing ability pre and post snap. For every problem the defense presents, he has an answer and a solution to that problem. But in the NFL, you're going to be hit. It is inevitable. And how much is that body frame going to be an issue for the front office? And knowing that they probably do like CJ Stroud a lot. Josh McCown was very high on CJ Stroud. Yeah. And there's a lot of reason to be high on CJ as well. So, man, I'm so pumped to know who it's going to be. But right now, if I had to bet, I would probably say Bryce. I think they had him in mind.
So let me ask you this, because in a lot of people's minds, the Bryce and the CJ comparison is like 1 and 1A, by most people's standards.
Yeah.
I can't actually, that's not true. That's not everybody's standard, but that a lot of Panther fans.
Most people are very favorable to both of them.
Oh yeah. That's a better way to say it. Like they're very favorable to both, but the size thing we cannot get past. Like that's one thing that a lot of people are really, really struggling with. Not even so much his height, but just his physical build. That's one of the things that people are struggling with mightily. Hey, y'all make sure to hit that like button if you're here, by the way. But
definitely,
I gotta tell you, man. Like when you look at, Nick Saban. We played this on the last show I did with Keith. Shout out to Keith and Med. But Nick Saban talked about how there's some guys that are 6'5", prototypical size, 6'2". Like I think the prototypical size for quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, is anywhere between 6'2" and 6'4", like 220 pounds to like 235 or something like that, right?
Basically, CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud, he is the prototypical quarterback, right? And so when you look at a guy like Stroud, is it, in your opinion? I'll give like what I think later on, but this is about what I want you to say. In your opinion, do you think that his physical build will be the catalyst to be the reason why Carolina would draft him over Bryce Young if they're making a decision based on that alone?
I don't know that it's that alone. The question that you're having to ask is, can any of these guys do something that the other can't do or will never be able to do? Because that Georgia game for CJ Stroud was incredibly important because he answered so many questions that he really wasn't good at answering all season. There was a lot of concerns about CJ's ability to read pressure, knowing where the blitzes are coming from, being able to be evasive in the pocket and use his feet and roll out and take advantage of running lanes and use his mobility as a weapon. That's something that we didn't see a lot from CJ Stroud playing in the Big Ten. Then he plays the best defense in college football the past 2 years in a row and lights it up, man. He looks like the next best thing since Joe Burrow. Yeah. And I feel like if you're the Panthers, if you feel like if you're capable of getting that kind of performance out of him once, why would you not trust a staff that has 11 Super Bowl rings amongst them to be able to get those same kinds of performances out of him? And I do trust him to be able to do that. I'll tell you this, man. I think he's the best deep ball thrower in the draft. And he's able to throw the deep ball with touch. And that's not saying that Bryce doesn't. Bryce is incredible too. But he does have that Joe Burrow effect where the ball is on a rope right where it needs to be, man. Yeah. Even at the combine against air, he's throwing routes with touch and anticipation and just absolute perfect ball placement.
Yeah.
He was the former Elite 11 MVP. He's been winning his entire life. So I'm not too worried about Bryce. And I do think that if you're looking at or rather CJ, yes, him being bigger and stronger, it matters. But does it matter? Is that the icing on the cake, pretty much? Because if it's just that he's 6'3", 220 pounds, and Bryce Young is 5'10" and 185, then yeah, you probably will go with CJ Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
But do you feel like Bryce Young's consistency playing down there in Alabama is more of a factor for picking number one? And I do think Bryce was more consistent in his time at Alabama than CJ was at Ohio State. But yeah, the upside flashed in that Georgia matchup, and the Panthers might be really high on that.
That's a lot. So
yeah.
To that, I'll say this. There's a couple of questions that I would have in terms of the CJ situation. Like if I'm looking at this from 30,000, number one, we heard that, okay, maybe the play calling wasn't such that gave him the mobility that he had in that Georgia game. Right. I mean, yeah, you could say that, but there was only like maybe 2 or 3 design runs. I think when they were in the red zone once, like right on the goal line, they call, or like I think they might have been on the 5. I went back and watched the highlights of that game, and they did call like a kind of a zone read, he kind of a quarterback keeper, if you will. I mean, he is not a scrambler at all, which is fine because I mean, here's the thing, man. The game is won from the pocket. Like Jalen Hurts, when I go back and look at him, man, like a lot of people give credit to the offensive scheme, to the what they call the mesh concept, similar to what Rack will likely run this year, like air raid mesh, which is Mike Leach, rest in peace to Mike Leach, but he revolutionized that offense, right? Jalen himself, if you go back and look at Jalen's colleges, that Oklahoma season he had, man, he was like 69% completion percentage. Like he was, I mean, Jalen's very effective with the ball and below, I think he was like maybe 8 interceptions, maybe even less than that possibly. So he protects the ball well. So I don't know that I could label like, when I look at someone like an Anthony Richardson, I can't definitively say like, oh, we can do it with him what they did with Jalen Hurts. Like, no, they're 2 different players, 2 completely different players. They have similar skill sets in their athletic ability, but the processing is different, right? But when I look at Stroud, the questions that I would ask is this. One, we know that the whole idea of him evading pressure inside the pocket, was that something that, because one of the comments that kept coming up during, with Kirk Herbstreit is like, man, we've never seen this from CJ before. And it's like, is this something that he was just holding back and wanting to display on a bigger stage, or is this just a one-off? And that is something that, you're concerned with when you see Bryce do it all the time. And the thing is, man, I got to tell you, this is my opinion. And I've talked to a few people online. I think Anthony Central. I can't remember his last name.
Anthony Piccarello. That's my guy.
Yeah, Anthony Piccarello. Shout out to Anthony if you're still in the chat. But, him and I were kind of talking, back and forth on Twitter. And the thing that I believe, man, is this. So much of the NFL is playing outside of structure, right? You're going, like this year, a rookie quarterback's going to come in and have a lot of structure, even without the weapons that we've had in the past. I think TMJ is being kind of a little bit undersold. Like, I really think TMJ is he's going to show out this year. Like, I got a feeling because he's probably going to go to the X. Like, I know if they bring in DeAndre Hopkins, and DeAndre's going to be the X, obviously. But the X is that's where DJ was. That's your number one guy. So he's going to get a lot of targets. They'll move him to the X. They'll probably, draft a slot, bring in DJ Chark to play that Y or whatever, and, draft, a receiver for the Z or whatever, or if Shai develops or whoever, they decide to put in that spot. But the point is that they're going to have some stability, if you will. Offensive line's going to be fine. Running game's going to be fine. Weapons won't be, incredible, but we'll get around to that at some point, like in later drafts or whatever. But this first developmental year, they'll be fine. Here's the thing. The reason why the NFL is so structure driven, I'm not going to be able to have the cohesiveness with those guys that I've built a rapport with. Why? Because Icky's going to come up and he needs a contract. Christensen's going to come up and he needs a contract. So then what happens? when I have to plug and play different guys, build all new chemistry and stuff like that. If I'm looking, like I said, from 30,000, if I'm not considering the size, if I'm not considering anything else, there's one guy that I've seen be able to do that with all the draft picks that have gone. Like, because when CJ gets to the Panthers, ain't going to be no Marvin Harrison. There ain't going to be no Jackson Smith and Jigba, not unless they make some magic in the draft. There won't be Chris Olave. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of these guys, these offensive linemen that you have, they gone. And I'm not saying that he can't play within, outside of that structure, because we did see it, with Georgia. We did indeed see it. What I'm saying, though, is that little guy in Alabama has done it, and he does it over and over and over again. It's like, Cody, I'm telling you, I saw this said, and I agree with this 100%. If this kid was even 6'1", and maybe 10 pounds lighter, he would be a generational quarterback prospect. Like, you don't see it. The thing about Bryce that makes him so different, because they both are super accurate. They both layer the ball well. What makes him so different, it's like he's got eyes everywhere. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody be able to pick up pressure. When Todd McShay said that he reminds him of Mahomes, I think it was that quality he was talking about. Like, he senses pressure like Spider-Man, bro. It's insane.
Yeah.
And I got a conspiracy theory. I'm telling you, personally, bro, I believe when they when that boy didn't show up, young man, when he showed up to the combine and didn't throw, I think there was already a backdoor conversation with Carolina. Like, hey, bro, you ain't got to prove nothing to us. We need to talk to you. Obviously, we want to see you at your pro day. Go through the regular situations or whatever like that. But I think this is already in the bag. I think when they knew that they were going to be able to move up, I think this deal was done before the combine, and I think that they knew they're moving up, and that's who they're going to get. I strongly believe that.
Well, let me put it to you like this. Bryce Young, there is nothing more that he could do as a player to make up for his lack of height and weight than what he has already done. I feel like from behind the pocket, he does a good job of taking care of himself. He took some big hits, but for the most part, he knows how to protect himself. He knows how to slide. He knows how to get down. And it's like what you mentioned. He has a sixth sense from inside the pocket. Everybody's so quick to kind of throw out the Russell Wilson comparison just because, I guess, because they're both semi-mobile. But I compare him more to a Drew Brees than a Russell Wilson, just because his pre and post snap knowledge of what the defense is doing, of what is happening. He has the trump card every single time.
Yes.
He has the reverse card. He understands how to make the defense wrong when it seems like there's no way they could be wrong. He has incredible touch passes. He trusts his arm. He's a big-time talent, and he can run away from you. He is faster than you think he is. He's not a Kyler Murray type of fast, but in the same breath, he doesn't need to be either. It wouldn't surprise me. Like I said, I kind of agree with you. It would not surprise me at all if the Carolina Panthers were sold on Bryce Young at this point in time. Go ahead.
I want to say this too, man. I want to say this too, because a lot of people are talking about his size, and I thought about this very well. I want to challenge people to do something, because I don't want to get demonetized. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe button, and bell notification. But because I don't want to get demonetized, I'm not going to show, but I'm going to tell you, and you can go look for yourself. Go back and watch our game, 10-23-2022. Who was the quarterback in that game? P.J. Walker. I'm going to go ahead and eliminate two things for you automatically. Number one, P.J. didn't have as many batted balls as Baker Mayfield, so let's throw that out the window. And P.J.'s 5'11". Number two, P.J. had very, very good field vision seeing over the line of scrimmage. Why is that? Because his drop was deeper. PJ was in one of the things that I think he does amazingly is the fact that he drops back so quickly and his hitch is so wide that when he gets back there, it takes a while for you to actually get to him, right? So he was always match protected. If you take what PJ done, which if you look at how PJ played, he played within the structure of Mac's offense. He never went off script. Everything was completely on script. So they didn't give him the ability to go make checks or anything like that. And somehow he still wound up, even with that bomb play, I think he still would have wound up with close to 300 yards. But that one threw him over the edge. I want to say he was like 330 something, right, in that game. Yeah. But the point is that if you take a compilation of everything you saw PJ do in that game and against Tampa, right? All hits included. Now, PJ's bigger. He is bigger. But, man, Cam got bigger. Bro, go look at Cam, rookie Cam, and then look at Cam 2 or 3 years later. Go look at rookie LeBron, and then look at LeBron a couple of years later. Physically, these guys, they're not going to get any taller, but they will, their bone structure and bone density will increase because that's going to happen up until you're around 25 years old. Plus, they can continue to put on weight. Now, it's fair. It's a fair point. He gets smashed one time, man. It's like, you're always going to be holding your breath, with this guy. But like I said, his ability to sense the pressure is what sets him apart from everybody. And I guarantee you, man, let me say this, and then we'll get to the draft. What's going to really what really changes everything, in my opinion, when they get him in the meeting room, man, and they ask him, hey, what were you thinking on this play right here? Or what do you think about this, install or whatever? They hand him an install for, like a mesh concept or whatever like that. And he goes through and he picks apart, like, what the defense is going to do here. And, hey, I watched Tampa's defense last year and they done this and blah, 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 whatever like that. They're going to look at this guy and be like, yo, you're going to walk out of that room and it's going to be very hard. Like I said on my last show, it's going to be hard for Jim Caldwell, very knowledgeable football guy. It's going to be hard for Josh McCown. It's going to be hard for Reich. All these guys are going to tussle with this issue and this pick because they're going to be like, how do we walk out of this room hearing this guy's knowledge and not pick him? How do we do it? That's why in my mind, I'm already thinking it's a done deal. I think everything else is a smokescreen. But what do you say to that?
I would love to be a fly on the wall when they do have the meetings, because as fans, that's something that we don't get to do, right? If you're in that front office and, here comes in Bryce Young, and apparently, if you believe the rumors, and who knows what rumors are and aren't true nowadays, but this one I particularly believe that at the combine, when teams would give Bryce defensive situations, they'd put him up on the board, and he would know them instantly, and he was able to read defenses that he hadn't even played against yet at Alabama. So clearly, he's a very high IQ guy. To be fair, I will say that C.J. Stroud also, to me, shows off a lot of that on film. He has a really good awareness of space and timing and knowing right when to put the ball on his players. He's oftentimes throwing the ball like before his receiver even gets out of their break. Now, I hear the point that you made earlier that, when you have a Marvin Harrison and a Jackson Smith and Jigba, and you have all these other high-end weapons, it's easy to kind of confuse that talent for what the quarterback is doing. But at the same time, that's who he had to throw to. And all you can ask is that a quarterback hit the open man when they're open. I do feel like he has done that. And again, that Georgia game kind of showed me that there is an upside to C.J. Stroud that I do think is attainable. Yeah. So I really do like both of these guys. And I'll my last thing, and then we'll jump into the mock, is that I do think it is a legitimate concern for people to say, okay, look, I love Bryce. I love everything he does on film, but 5'10", 195 pounds or whatever, it is scary. And I think even if you're the biggest Bryce Young fan, I think that there has to be a reasonable amount of concern there, especially because he would be lighter from a physical perspective than Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. And I just don't know how much more functional muscle Bryce is going to be able to put on in, the next couple of years. Maybe he gets up to 210 pounds, but maybe not. Like I said, maybe that's more of his natural playing weight where he is right now. So I'm sure an NFL strength and conditioning system is going to do Bryce Young wonders. I have no doubt. But again, he's not a naturally very big guy. And he already kind of bulked up to play at Alabama. He was even lighter at Modern Day High School out there in California. So I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how much bigger weight-wise Bryce Young is capable of growing to.
Yep. But without further ado, man, let's get into it.
Let's do it, man.
It is mock draft time. So the first one we're going to do, man, we're going to do a 7-round mock. Obviously you get to choose the parameters, man. This is your draft, man. And so we'll look at the chat some. We'll also, kind of see what trade options are available. So here we are. Panthers are on the clock, and we got the first pick. So Cody Lack, I'm going to let you kind of give me a little bit of insight of whether you want to trade the pick or you want to pick right here moving forward. What you want to do?
Ooh, all right. So did you start the clock? Like, did the Texans send in, like, I don't know if I've ever used PFF before. Will they send you like real-time trades? Because if they're not, if the Houston Texans are not offering to move up, I'm not offering to move down. Like, they would have to make an offer to get me to move off of the number 1 pick. And I said this on our show, and I'll stand by it here. This is an expensive pick if you want to move up. Because like I said, there is no guarantee that both of these men are going to be successful long-term in the NFL. So if the Houston Texans essentially get to make the pick for us as to what quarterback we're going to take, I want their 12 this year and a first round next year. I don't care if it's Houston's or Cleveland's, and they have enough draft capital to be able to do it and not miss it at all whatsoever. So
with you saying that, let me ask you this, because you can mock it up here. I could say, okay, for the first, you give us your 12th, we move back to the second. They said it's a 10% chance of being accepted. So that's a likely no. But if we trade the first for their second, what other option would you want to see here if it's outside of the 12th pick?
Oh, man, it's outside of the – how about a 1 next year? But if they won't give us a first round either this year or next year, I'm straight up not doing it.
So it looks like they'll give us if we take their round 1 next year, it's a 77% chance this goes through. But again, this is if you think, because like I said, it's the coin flip. It's Bryce, it's CJ. If you're big on CJ, like I see most people in the chat, saying, then obviously it's CJ. But it's up to you how you want to handle this. But first, I'm going to let you tell me, are we taking this trade or no?
You know what? I'll say, yeah, for the purpose of this mock draft, I think I like that. Oh, not accepted.
That's crazy.
They said, nah, we all right.
Yeah, that's nuts.
All right, that's fine, man. So look, I'm just going to go with my gut on this, man.
All right, well, hang on a second. Yeah. So we're sticking with the first pick, right?
Yeah, we're sticking with the number 1 overall pick. Like I said, I'm not trading with anyone not named the Houston Texans. I'm just not doing it. On the clock, number 1. I know I'm gonna make some fans upset no matter what, but I feel more comfortable taking CJ Stroud, number 1, to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, man. I really do like the touch that he has on the football. Great touch, great accuracy, great downfield push. I like his ability, man. I really do.
And there it is, just like that. CJ Stroud with the first pick. Let's go back and recap some of these picks. So Bryce Young went number 2 to the Texans. Will Anderson goes number 3 to the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson goes to the Indianapolis Colts. Jalen Carter to the Seahawks. Tyree Wilson, interesting. First edge off the board goes to Will Anderson was the first edge off the board. Tyree Wilson, the second edge off the board to the Detroit Lions. Christian Gonzalez to the Raiders. The Falcons took Will Levis.
Oh, yeah. I love that, dude. Let's go. Mayonnaise Monster and the ATL.
Right. Devin Witherspoon to the Chicago Bears. Jackson Smith. Man, that's crazy. Jackson Smith and Jigba to the Eagles. Yo, the rich get richer. Quentin Johnson went to the Tennessee Titan. Paris Johnson to the Texans. Let's keep going now. Oh, I got Miles Murphy went to
man, I just saw the guy that I wanted. I was hoping he would have fell, but he didn't, man. Oh, dude. I don't know about you. I don't know how much you've looked into him thus far yet, John. Zay Flowers.
Oh, man.
That's one of my draft crushes this year, man.
If we stayed at 9, that was going to be my pick. Would be Zay Flowers. Absolutely. Because I think in the slot, he's AB. Like
I think he has I think he has potential to be even more than a slot receiver.
Yeah.
I think you can put him on the outside too. I know he's small, but he's fast. He's powerful. Dude, love me some Zay Flowers.
Yeah. Who took him? I see.
Jacksonville. Oh,
okay.
That's nasty too, man.
Yeah.
Trevor throwing him the football. That's nasty.
Bijan Robinson went to the Cowboys. I've been seeing that a lot. Michael Mayer dropped all the way to 25 and went to the New York Giants.
Great value for both of those teams.
Yeah. Let's see. Jalen Hyatt went to Kansas City.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Darnell Wright goes to the Steelers. Keely Ringo goes to the Texans. Antonio Johnson to the Cardinals. DeJuan Jones to the Colts. Looks like we got Will McDonald that went to the Raiders, which puts us back on the clock. So, Cody Lack at the 39th pick. What you thinking, man?
All right, man. Let me check out some of these receivers. What receivers are left on the board?
Let's see. So, we got Josh Downs from North Carolina, Nathaniel Dell from Houston, Michael Wilson. I know Nathaniel Dell and Tyler Scott, not Tyler Scott, but Josh Downs were two guys that were very popular in the draft that I done with Key. And so, what you thinking, man?
Do me a favor. Let me see the tight ends.
Absolutely. I think our guy's still on the board. I'm taking my guy right here, man.
Right below receiver. Yep.
Hold on, let me X that out for a second. Here we go. I'm looking for him too, man. I think he went. Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, did Dalton Kincaid go? What pick did he go?
He went 17 to the Steelers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Man, this is tough. I think I'm going to wait one more round. I know fans are going to freak out. Obviously, okay, Ian Thomas just today was retained. He took a pay cut in order to stay. We still have Tommy Tremble.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm going to be real. Part of me just wants... And we just signed Hayden Hurst too, man. Like I would love Darnell Washington right there, but it's just a little too rich. Let me check edge, either edge or outside linebacker. Do they differentiate them?
Let me see here. I think inside offensive linebacker, tackle, edge. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, do ED.
All right, a second here. ED. There we go.
Oh, I like BJ Ojolari too. That would be a good pick at edge rusher.
I know we get shot for this, but our guy's on the board right now. But we could probably pick him with the 93rd pick because he'll probably fall.
Who do you mean?
KJ Henry.
Oh, KJ Henry? Oh, yeah. But see, that's the thing. I don't know how well he would fit as that outside linebacker role. Right. I mean, I'm sure he could, but it's not really what we asked him to do a ton at Clemson. Man, it's between Frank Dell and BJ Ojolari.
Tony said, let's get a middle linebacker.
Who's on the linebacker?
I love Jack Campbell. Oh, Trenton Simpson fell? Oh, my gosh.
What?
Yikes.
Oh, and it's number 66. What's our next pick? Nah, there's no way. There's no way in heck he's going to be around by the time.
No, I think you take him. You got to take Trenton Simpson right here because, like, okay, when you talked about,
you ain't got to sell me on Trenton, dude. I love me some Trenton Simpson.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, in terms of like, so because the linebacking room, like, you could make an argument for not taking a linebacker. Here's why: if Chin is the guy to move, Brandon Smith is still developing. So you want to see what you got from him. We can't say definitively that Chin's going to make that move because we haven't heard that yet. But as it stands right now, even with bringing in Von Bell, even with having Xavier Woods, Jeremy Chin's still going to play safety at some point or to some degree. So my thing would be, this would be to have two guys like that sitting here and Jack Campbell and Trenton. In our defense in the 3-4, I think Trenton would fit better. And that's not my Clemson bias. If we were a 4-3, it'd be Jack Campbell, in my opinion, no question. But in a 3-4, I think Trenton Simpson would be much better. What's that?
I already see people in the chat room. Cody and his Clemson players, man. Cody's just trying to load up on Clemson players. Yeah, man, I'm trying to load up on Clemson players. The Panthers never do it. If
Right.
I don't do it, when are we ever gonna get us some Clemson players, man?
Exactly.
And you know what? I'm chilling with my man Big John. You're right.
Hey.
I'm picking Trenton Simpson with our 39th pick, man. Fill out that linebacker core, dude. That's what I'm doing, man. I think Trenton Simpson is special. And by the way, if you notice, the Panthers have made a concerted effort to fill the team with guys that have hometown ties. Okay. Not only did this man play at Clemson, this man went to my rival high school. He went to Mallard Creek High School right here in Charlotte, North Carolina, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he grew up a Panthers fan. So, dude, I'm loving that pick. I think that would be a fantastic selection for Carolina. Yeah,
I love that pick too. All right, so let's recap, man. Drew Sanders went to the Saints. Jack Campbell actually ended up going not further after that to the Tennessee Titans. Mozzie Smith, I got to tell you, man, that's one guy that I forgot to even mention. I think Mozzie would have been a great pick right there, a defensive lineman. Mainly, I mean, he's a mauler, man. He's just a really tough dude. And in that 3-4, I know they brought in what's the tackle that they brought? The Tuttle. But he's more of him and Derek Brown will be deadly on the edges. But right now, we got the guy that we brought in today, the Williams guy. I think he's from Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken. And he played for Denver, and I think he'll probably fit that nose spot. But I would like to see us get someone to, kind of back him up. Or what do you think about developing Marquand McCall? Because, I mean, he showed promise last year, too, as well.
Yeah, he did show promise. I've been saying for a while, I would love to see us add some talent at some point via the draft to that defensive tackle spot, just to get some young guys in there, some more pass rushers to be able to put next to Derek Brown. I think that's something that's needed, that's been needed for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I'm there's so many different options. If I didn't take linebacker, I was just as pressed to take BJ Ojolari just to get another edge rusher to complement Brian Burns. And that's really been something that we've been needing for a long time too. Where are we picking now? We're at 90.
93. I'm going to recap a couple of the prominent names here. Darnell Washington went to Green Bay. Josh Downs to the New England Patriots. Let's see, I saw Hendon Hooker's name. Isaiah Foskey went to the Finns.
Oh, where did Hendon Hooker go?
Hendon Hooker went to the Jets, backing up Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
Tanner McKee went to the Raiders. Let's see. Javon Dexter Jr., Sr. Went to the Lions. Garrett Williams went to the Bucks. Marvin Mims goes to the Seahawks. Kaiu Blue Kelly goes to the Vikings. And let's see here. Noah Sewell, a name that was super high last year.
He fell, didn't he?
Did. Yeah, goes to the Cowboys. So that puts us back on the clock at pick 93.
All right, man. So right now I'm looking at Michael Wilson. Let me see the corners.
Okay.
Because I feel like a lot of us were not impressed with C.J. Henderson last year.
Mm-mm.
See, I like Tre'Davious Hodges Tomlinson.
I like Jacorian Bennett out of Maryland. This is you.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I did watch some of Bennett's film. Let me take a look at the edge.
Let's see. Edge. All right.
Oh, man. Wait.
Look at
See,
KJ,
if I was really on one, just see now, chat. If I was really on one, I would just make this a Clemson mock draft and not even think twice about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could just do that if I felt so obliged to. But man, gosh, I just, I don't know what move we're gonna make at receiver in free agency, man. I almost feel obligated to take the best receiver available right now, just to add more firepower to our receiving core. Head to the receivers for a sec. I know that.
I'm going to acknowledge a couple of comments in the chat really quick.
Yeah.
I saw Big Jordan say something about there's a receiver here that Steve Smith approved. I saw that Cody said Let's see, do it. Oh, no, guard. Excuse me. That was Panther Pickle that said do it. And then, let's see. Sideshow said Tank Dell is the pick. Riley Moss and Mekhi Becton are two guys that Sideshow mentioned. Will McDonald, the fourth, is someone.
Is Tank Dell available?
I'm sure he is. Let's see. Bring him back. Is he?
No, I think he went way earlier.
He might have. Let's look. I think Bisbee is available. What is Tank Dell? Tank Dell's a. Is he a running back?
Receiver? Yeah, I mean, I thought Tank Dell was a receiver.
That's him, man. The thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's why we were confused.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a wrap, dude. Take Tank Dell right there.
Hey, there we go. Tank Dell it is.
Yes, sir. I like that. All right, now.
All right, let's just recap a couple of minutes here to see who we got. We took Tank Dell. A.T. Perry went next to the Eagles. Let's see, Tank Bisbee went to the Cleveland Browns. Jared Patterson goes to the 49ers. Man, the 49ers have back-to-back picks there. Let's see, Henry To'o. Wow, he goes to New England. It's interesting how a draft can, or a combine can change the prospect, like draft grade, because, man, on a lot of the mock drafts that I've done before I went live with any of this before, like Henry To'o fell all the way to like the 5th round. He was there, available. I think I took him one time in a mock where I took him, Hendon Hooker. But, it's crazy. So, after that puts us back on the clock, Cody. Who do you like?
All right. See, Michael Wilson's still there. We could theoretically double dip at the receiver position, but we have not addressed the edge yet. And look, my boy KJ is just sitting right there. He wanted me to, I could have taken him last round, but my man came back around. I'm not passing on him, man. I'm going KJ Henry. I think he has big time potential, former 5-star talent coming to Clemson. And this is my mock draft, man. If y'all want to do a better one, to do your own. I'm not here bringing my Clemson superstars here to the 704, baby. Let's go.
Man, talk your junk, Cody.
Hey, that's what I'm doing, man.
All right, so KJ Henry it is. Card is in. Let's go. Let's see. Look at a couple of these players. See if we got Jonathan Mingo went to the New York Giants. Xavier Hutchinson to the Browns. Let's see. Rashawn Johnson goes to the Seattle Seahawks. Brandon Joseph, hard-hitting safety, goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Owen Papo, a linebacker that is seeming to be very popular right now. He went to the New England Patriots, so that puts us back on the clock at pick 132. Cody.
Yep. I'm going to be short and to the point, but this one, I like your guy, Jacorian Bennett, cornerback out of Maryland.
I like it.
I do like that.
Let's do it.
All right, now this is the area where I'm open to looking at running backs and maybe even some safety help.
Okay.
Let me peep the running backs. I see Dwayne McBride is one of the top available. I wonder if the kid from Iowa State went off the board yet. I'm pretty sure he did. Scroll down. Evan Hall, I think that was him.
Northwestern?
Yeah, I do like that kid. I think that's who I'm thinking of. Short kid, like 5'9", head to the top of the board, scroll all the way up. Let me see the safeties real quick.
Quindell Johnson from Memphis is still there. Rashad Torrance.
Man.
I like Rashad Torrance, man. Torrance, he's a ball hawk.
Man, we have a lot of safeties right now. Yeah, we do. Hey, let me check out. You know what? Let me check out the O-line real quick.
Okay.
Does it differentiate between tackle and guard? Okay, IOL.
Let me take a look here. Offensive tackle, yeah. So tackles, I don't think he's here anymore. Actually, let me take a look. Jackson Kirkland. Let me see.
He's
there he is. Yeah, there he is. This is crazy to me, man, because this is where a player can literally be like, remember how Justin Herbert, I want to say it was his junior year, because did he play his senior year, or did he come out?
Yeah, he went back for his senior year.
Okay. If Justin had come out the year prior, he probably is the number 1 overall pick, right? But he comes out a year later, the tape wasn't as good as it was, the previous year, and it kind of changed. And then plus, a team need, was also a big thing too.
Right.
Jackson Kirkland last year was one of the highest rated tackles coming out of school. Like, we ain't talking about guard. Like, he was one of the highest rated left tackles. But he battled some injuries, and he went back to school. But if he had come out last year, there's a good chance that he was up there with, like, the Ickies and the Evan, and all those guys.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that he's, here. And maybe it's I don't know if it was some like an injury situation, but to me, this would be a great guy to put behind Icky and let him develop. But what say you? This is your draft.
Well, I mean, I honestly, the way you said it kind of sold me on it, because he does have that position versatility. And also knowing that Austin Corbett tore his ACL the final game of the year, maybe you're able to have some competition between him and Cade Mays to be able to vie for that right guard spot, maybe as a swing tackle in case either Taylor Moton or something happens to Kim Ekwonu. I like that. I like your train of thought. I'll go Jackson Kirkland, because it was between them or some of the running backs. But even still, man, I think you can get good running backs even later than this. So we're going to get them back up on the O-line. Jackson Kirkland.
So there it is, man. Jackson Kirkland we took with the last pick. That will do our first draft. We're going to go through the rest of these picks here, and then we'll get our grade. And, I'm interested to see how this grades out, man. I think it should, grade pretty high, just because the averages of, a lot of this with grading is just based on, like, if you pick the best player available, like, they're going to give you a higher grade or whatever. But let's see. Hey, I like it. A-.
All right. That's not
look
bad.
At that, man. Look. Hey, white chocolate espresso. You my guy. But you South Carolina. Look at what
man.
Look at the KJ Henry grade.
Yeah, man. This is hey, man, we some Clemson podcasters over here. You gotta watch out with that mess, bro. Come on now. Hold that, man. Come on now. I mean, hey, look. I mean, I saw somebody point out that Tank Dale's only like 5'8", 165 pounds. Yeah, he's not a big dude, but I mean, I think we're probably gonna try and sign like a DJ Chark at some point in time. At that point, you have a bunch of help. You have a bunch of guys. You might not have that surefire number 1 wide receiver type of talent, but I do think that Tank Dell has an incredible amount of ability and upside. I like that pick. I like CJ Stroud. Trenton Simpson's going to be a great addition on the inside. I think Jacorian Bennett can provide some real competition to Keith Taylor and CJ Henderson. KJ Henry, I'm so excited about his potential and his upside, and their versatility and a little bit of depth and safety on O-line with Jackson Kirkland, man. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Not bad at all, man. So look, check it out. Y'all make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, and bell notification so you don't miss a video. We are going to take a small break for about a minute or so, and we're going to come back and do round 2 of our draft. And we're probably going to do something a little bit different. Not going to go with the guys that you think, but we're going to mock up some different scenarios. So when we get back, man, y'all keep it locked. We'll be back on the One Carolina Show in just a moment.
I'm Frank Reich, and I look at what this kid does from a processing perspective. Do I know if he can hold up that long? Nope, I don't know. All of it's a crapshoot. You're taking a chance on everybody. But if I'm going to take a chance on anything, any one trait, I'm taking a chance on that. Man, go watch this guy's tape. You can see it for yourself. The level of anticipatory throws is not common. He's different, Key. He is way different.
Way different. Yep.
He's way different.
One Carolina, I'm big on Bryce and the anticipation. Yeah, I'm glad I sold you. I think C.J. Stroud has that anticipation too on his film. I really do. But yeah, I'm a big on. I love the way that Bryce Young plays. I just think there is an element of kind of smooth effortlessness that he's able to play in and around, even when it's not. It's one thing to be able to do that in 7-on-7. It's another to be able to do that when you're getting overwhelmed at the line of scrimmage and you got to make plays consistently in the pocket movement, that vibe of it, which is going to be like that on Sundays, that I think is pretty special.
What's up, y'all? We are back. This is John Farmer featuring my man Cody Lachney from the C3 Panther Podcast.
Hey.
On this version of One Carolina Live, where we are doing the mock draft. Cody, we got an A- on our first draft, man. And I got to tell you, man, it was a good draft. You know, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those quarterbacks. Obviously, I have a partiality to Bryce myself, but I do believe CJ has what it takes to be successful. What say you about our first round, buddy?
I mean, A-, that's better than I did in school, man. You know, so I'm already doing something right. I'm already upgrading a little bit, you know, but I don't know. This board is a tricky situation because there's a few big time holes that I still see on the roster, specifically at 39. And I've said this on our podcast before. That is almost just as big of a conundrum as the number 1 overall pick, because at 39, do you go edge on the other side of Brian Burns, which a lot of people make the argument that we've been needing for a long, long time, you know, to really add some extra edge help. A lot of people have been very kind of disappointed in the lack of growth from YGM. So it's sensible to upgrade that outside linebacker / edge rusher spot. But at the same time, especially because I don't know what our free agency is going to end up like at the receiver position, you're also tempted just to take whatever the best receiver available is, just to make sure that your number 1 pick quarterback has enough firepower to be able to mount a ridiculous offense like we have the capability and the vision to try and build here. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's tough. It really is a tough decision to make.
All right, Cody. So then let me ask you this. Because it's always easy just to draft chalk, man. You know, it's like if you were making an NCAA board, you know, I saw Furman. You know, many of you may not know, I live in Greenville, or I live in Taylor, South Carolina. And Furman today, man, the city is lit because we knocked off number 4 Virginia. You know,
oh, nice,
crazy.
Nice.
But here's the thing: it's easy just to pick the chalk and just, you know, let the chips fall where they may. For us right now, that would be us picking CJ or Bryce Young. But where I want to go a little bit different here, and I think that a trade scenario is going to definitely be in play with this pick. I want to see what this looks like if you think, I mean, there are people out there that like Will Levis. I'm going to tell you this. I don't think Levis is going to be as bad as people make him out to be, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere near as good as he's potentially projected to be. That's what I'll say. So
the best thing that could happen for him is for him to fall, because if he falls, he goes to a little bit better spot that could potentially help build around him a little better.
Right. And so, but what I want to do is this. I want to look at this from a perspective like, okay, if we trade back and we were to draft, say, Anthony Richardson, right? How would you build this team differently, considering you're picking him as opposed to Bryce or CJ? And so I want to offer, you know, some trade scenarios, and one that we get and that we accept. And then I honestly, man, like, who cares? Like, look, it's me and you, dog. I don't care if everybody drops out the chat. I don't care. Like, look, I love y'all being in the chat, but here's one thing I don't do. And I don't base my opinions on shifting with the winds of the narratives, right? So if my opinion on Bryce was dead wrong and everybody else was right, then that's my opinion. Hey, I got egg on my face, and Cody gave me a mulligan for thinking that Baker could be a franchise quarterback.
I didn't hear you, John.
So, but the point is this. If it's Will Levis, hey, it's Will Levis, and we see how we build it from there. If it's Anthony Richardson, buddy, if it's Hendon Hooker, I don't care. I just want to do something different to see how you would suggest building the team based on that different pick. So let's start with some trade scenarios.
Okay.
All right. So I think if we're going to grab either of those two guys, we don't necessarily have to trade with Houston. I think we more have to trade with the Colts. That would make more sense to me. The Colts will probably want to move up from number 4, and it's going to take,
Yeah, it would have to be either the Colts or the Seahawks. Arizona does not want to move up. They want to move down.
Right.
So yeah, it's either the Colts or Seattle. Boy, let me tell you, Panther fans would burn Mint Street to the ground if they went from number 1, and then they're like, "Nah, we're gonna be all right at 4, man. We'll take the bet. We'll take the final 4 of whoever's left, man."
I'm gonna say this though. I'm gonna say this real quick.
Yeah,
because this is gonna be an opportunity for me to shout out some of the faithful that do the same things that we do on a daily basis. All right. Mr. Tepper, I'm actually going to come off of this for a second and just look straight at the camera.
Talk to him.
Mr. Tepper, you have done some incredible things that we can all acknowledge. You've given us a great staff. You somehow convinced Jim Caldwell to come out of retirement, who says he doesn't even want to be a head coach anymore. So it's a good chance that we can retain him for quite a while. Dom Capers is here. There's a real Carolina connection. A lot of the players are from the area, and we really like that. But I got to tell you something. If you mortgaged off DJ Moore, picks, and whatever else is to come to move up to number 1 to draft Will Levis, myself, C3, Big Cat, PNP, and just about anybody else that picks up a microphone that talks for the Carolina Panthers is going to be on your head.
We're going to find you. We're going to find you.
Big time.
We're going to find you.
I'm talking about your head.
You're going to have to see us. You're going to have to see us.
Anyway, let's get
You're
back
going
to
to have to see us. You are going to have to see us. Oh, man.
All right. So we got the Indianapolis Colts here. They got a 4th that we can move to. 35. That trade would likely be accepted. I don't know if you want to move down to the second round. 35 and maybe a round 1 next year. I would like to, if we're going to do this, I want the picks from this year so we can, because we can't mock.
Right. Build out a bigger draft.
Absolutely. So what do you think? I'm thinking the 35th, the 79th. Man, that's likely to be accepted. Let's see. My goodness. All that for the first?
Yeah, do it. What the heck? Hey, let's go. Let's go.
There it is.
Jim Irsay has no idea what he's doing over there in Indy, baby. Let's go.
Nope. All right, let's get this draft started, man. Gosh, dang it. Oh, my gosh, Cody. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Richardson went to the Texans?
Oh, what? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. What? Bro, ain't no way.
Gosh.
Ain't no way. We just fleeced the whole draft, John. Bro, we just fleeced everybody, bro. Are you kidding me right now?
Gosh.
Bro, who you think I'm gonna pick?
Listen.
Come on, man.
Why Big Jordan said it's meant to be. Look, they going crazy in the chat, bro.
What? Bro, what?
Oh, this is crazy.
Come on, man.
All right, man. Well, then here we go.
Wow.
Cody. With the 4th pick.
Man, you already know. We're picking CJ Stroud, baby. Let's go. Bro, imagine how mad the chat would be if I'm like, Will Levis. Let's go.
Oh, if you said Will Levis, they going nuts. But, bro, look who's on the board. At pick 35, Nolan Smith. Man, we got Mozzie Smith. We got players everywhere. And we literally go from 35 to 39. Man, listen. Let's get it. Cody, Who's your
Yes,
pick?
sir. I'm picking Nolan Smith, baby. Listen, that is a dynamic, physical freak, outside linebacker, edge type of player, versatile. I would love him in our defense, man. I mean, this is the best possible scenario. A lot of people straight up don't feel he's gonna fall that far. Billy Marshall on Twitter saying he has the potential to be a top 10 pick. I don't know about all that, but dude, he has the type of potential that general managers are falling in love with, man.
Yeah.
Destroyed the combine.
Listen,
Destroyed it.
I got to tell you this, man. There is a good chance. I don't think Carolina's going to do this. I really don't. But let's just say hypothetically, let's flip this around. I know we talked about what we would, we'd be on Tepper's head. But flip this around. If we moved back to 4 and got this similar kind of haul, the draft is always going to give you surprises. So there's going to be people that fall that we don't think. I'll give you an example. I don't think Jalen Carter is going to be drafted as high as people think, especially with him coming in overweight, dealing with the off-field issues that exist. Right?
Do you think that some people are saying that his pro day was so bad that maybe he was trying to tank his pro day so that he was falling? That don't really make sense to me because you get paid by the draft. I mean, you get paid by the draft pick though. So
it's very
why would you want to fall? I don't know.
So in that case, look, Mozzie's still on the board. BJ Ojulari is still on the board.
Yeah.
Tank Dell is still on the board. I mean, where do you want to go here?
All right. I'm going to throw you a curveball, John.
All right.
I want you to get the Arizona Cardinals on the phone.
Let's do it. I like it. All right. Let's see where they at.
I want you to send them 39 and 93. Oh, no. All right. No, take off the 93 and go back to the 79 and see if they'll send us DeAndre Hopkins. All right. Hold on.
I don't think it got to be that much, Cody.
All right. Take off the 79 and do 93.
They'll take the 39.
They'll take just. All right, do it.
Wait a minute. Let me try something.
Yeah. See if they'll take. No, not the 93. No. Do it. Dude, is anyone going to tell me DeAndre Hopkins is not worth the 39th pick in the draft? And we got Nolan's.
Look at all the picks that are left.
Dude, you have to do it. Have to.
And with a draft day trade, the Carolina Panthers have traded the 39th pick to the Arizona Cardinals for DeAndre Hopkins.
Let's go. That's the move right there, man. That is the move.
Listen.
Man.
Let's go to the bowl.
Let's do it. Let's hoist up a Lombardi trophy, bro.
Year one. Why not?
All
right, let's go back and look up the draft board and see some of the people that were taken. Hey, I got to tell you, man, this guy Tupolo2, however you say that.
Yeah.
I like him. The kid out of USC. I like him.
Yeah. I do too. I do too.
So Trenton Simpson went to the Falcons.
Of course.
I'm basically looking at the division. Darnell Wright went to the Saints. Let's see. Go back down a little bit. See if we're in the division still. The Saints. Oh, Hendon Hooker went to the Saints. Okay. Jordan Battle, a safety out of Alabama, went to the Falcons. So then that puts us back on the clock, man. Cody Lack, what you got?
Yes, sir. All right, man. Let me take a look at linebacker.
All right.
Dorian Williams.
I see my guy here.
Yeah. I mean, Noah Sewell could be the guy. Henry To'u I like a lot as well. Who's the guy that you like, John?
I know this is going to sound crazy, but similar to Nakobe Dean last year, Ivan Pace Jr. is very interesting to me. Now, he'll probably be available, by pick 93, so we could take a flyer on him.
Does it show you their measurables? Like if you click on the thing next to their name and stuff?
He's little.
Where does it say their height and weight and stuff like that?
I got to pay for the extra, man.
Go to the first look at the top left.
Top left, first look. There we
No.
6 foot.
Oh, okay, yeah. 6 foot, 230. Okay.
Not too
So
small.
on the shorter side.
Yeah, for a linebacker. But I don't think that's a very favorable foam in the tennis shoes 6 foot, bro.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, Ivan Pace is legit. Like I
have seen him before. He's a thumper.
Yeah.
He's an inside dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see Sewell.
I'm so shocked that he fell, man. Remember last year he was linebacker 1. We talking about first line on the board kind of stuff, man. Maybe he had a bad season. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Hey, Sasha was right though. Linebacker is deep this year. It's a pretty deep linebacker draft.
It really is. Coverage weakness. What's his role? Blitz, linebacker. All right, yeah. All right. I tell you what. We'll find a guy that's gonna run around, smack people in the mouth. Let's go Ivan Pace Jr. Man. I've seen his stuff before. I like his film. Very aggressive, good nose for the football. Yeah, let's do it.
I like it. Here we are, right back on the board. Cody, this is so realistic, man. This is so realistic that we could trade back like this. Like, let me ask you this. Let's suppose that, like I said, that they
maybe not CJ at number 4, but
right. Would you? But what would you do? Like, if they did trade back, and do you think there's a chance that they do take Levis anyway if they move back to number 4? Just to accumulate all these picks and build out this roster like crazy?
I don't know, man. I don't believe none of the rumors that you see on Twitter, man. Everything's a smokescreen now. So even if you did see a report saying that they like Will Levis, who knows if it's real? It's hard to know. Frank Reich did get the most out of Carson Wentz once upon a time in his career. Yes. So it's not a shocker to me if they feel that they can get the most out of him. I don't know. I just feel like the Panthers are ready to win right now. And Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are the 2 players that are the most ready to come into the NFL and play starting caliber football right now.
Yeah.
So I really don't see Levis as much of a possibility for the Panthers.
I don't either. So I'm in agreement with you there. So we're back on the board, man. So we are at pick number 93. So Cody Lack, who you got?
I'm torn between Nathaniel Dell, who we already took.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see Trevius Hodges Tomlinson. Oh, he's short. Yeah, he's short. More
Bryce
of a
Young
nickel
receiver.
Yeah. More of a nickel type of a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, off zone cornerback. All right. Exit out of that one.
He was solid. That's LaDainian Tomlinson's nephew.
That's what I thought.
I'm surprised he's fallen this far. This is a guy, to me, I feel like this would be sort of like the Kalon Barnes situation that we tried, which he didn't really get much of a shot. He's a burner, but man, there were a few bright spots in that championship game, even though they got smoked. He was one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I mean, I definitely know the name. I knew that I had heard a lot of them before.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Robinson. Again, we're kind of deep at safety now with Von Bell. We have DeAndre. We just took a linebacker. Let me see defensive line.
All right.
So
you want interior or edge?
Well, let me see the edge first.
Okay.
All right, so Carl Brooks at a Bowling Green. Zach Harrison, I've watched a little bit of. Yasir Abdullah. My boy KJ is still there. Okay, let me see. Offensive line, the offensive interior.
Mm-hmm. Tackles or you looking at guards?
Yeah, let's do interior.
Okay.
Where are we picking right now?
93.
Right.
Andrew Voorhees is still there. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that pick, man, and it's the same reason why we picked Kirkland the last time around, knowing that Christensen and Corbett were hurt at the end of the season. I like having some depth on your offensive line, and I'm a firm believer that you should be taking offensive line every year or every other year.
I completely agree. You have to rotating room, yes.
Yes,
and see a move back like this, and this is probably the mindset of if they are indeed considering trading back from one, it is to start to establish that culture of a road like a conveyor belt. We're just bringing in, or whatever, so that we can continue to keep people on deck, so that we don't have much of a drop off. Because I mean, think about it, like. In my opinion, whoever would, I mean, even though they went out and got Orlando in free agency, like who saw Creed Humphrey coming? I did.
Yeah.
And so, and I think wasn't he like in the whole long running story that he was available there, and Matt took Thomas Fletcher instead or something like that?
Yeah. But I know we took the punter or the long snapper instead of the defensive the interior offensive lineman.
I think it was Creed Humphrey. Yeah.
No, it was Creed Humphrey was a second round pick, but the Chiefs picked him up in the 5th round. The guy that I'm talking about, Chat. What's his name, man? Played from. He went to Tennessee. Trey Smith. That's his name.
Trey Smith. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Chat got it. Trey Smith.
Yeah.
Trey Smith was that guy that fell to them, and we took a long snapper before we took Trey Smith, and Trey Smith has been incredible. So, yeah, for that reason, I'm going to go my man Voorhees.
Hey, real quick side note.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Rule. We got the first pick, dog. Hold that.
Yep. Appreciate you.
Andrew Voorhees. Here we go. All right, so we are back on the clock. Let's see what our competition took in the let's see. I don't think we had anybody. Nobody in the entire NFC South took a pick here. Tank Bisbee went to the San Francisco 49ers. Zach Harrison Edge went to the 49ers as well. Byron Young went to the Houston Texans, and Jatavius Martin went to the Arizona Cardinals. So that puts us back on the board at pick number 106. Cody, who you got?
All right, man. So I'm just drafting best player available at this point. And to me, it's between Tank Dell and Travius Hodges-Tomlinson. And it's just what little guy do you prefer? And I think just the value alone, I'm taking Tank Dell again. This is the second draft in a row. I'm gonna take Tank Dell. I know we picked up Hopkins earlier, but we picked up the O-line. Can't have enough weapons, man. Weapons upon weapons upon weapons for your young rookie quarterback. I'm drafting Nathaniel Dell.
There it is. Tank Dell it is, man. I love it. And what's so crazy is that we end up right back in the same position to be able to get Hodges-Tomlin if we want to double back right here.
I'm down. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Same time.
Let's do it.
Man, Cody, I don't know about you, man, but this gets me super excited because it's like, yo, this is,
man.
I mean, do you know the wealth of picks and players that we can get to develop if we decide, like, I heard Dan Orlovsky say this, and I couldn't agree more. He said the Carolina Panthers, like, obviously Bryce, CJ, whichever way they want to go, but they control the draft now, like completely control.
Oh yeah. I think Dan Orlovsky is an undercover Panther fan. I mean, then there was that rumor that he was close to signing with us.
Oh, it wasn't a rumor. He came out and addressed it. He was the one that said it. He said it.
To be a part of the coaching staff.
Yeah.
That would have been dope. That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been fire.
Yeah, I
All
like
right,
that.
so you see our guys here, man. Clemson connection.
Man. Yeah, I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. I mean, we're just, that's what we're doing, man. There's no way I'm not. I mean, come on.
Done deal. All right, man. So that puts us back on the pick for pick number 146. Cody, what you think?
What have we not taken? Let me see the running backs.
All right.
Kenny McIntosh, Rodriguez. Yeah, let's go with Dwayne McBride, man. We'll go best player available, running back, another serviceable back for Miles Sanders.
Hey, hold on.
That's gross.
That's in reference to the South Carolina. Me.
Yo, that nasty drink on your profile picture.
Y'all
Yo, that drink on your profile picture looks gross, bro.
Hey.
That's what's looking gross.
They beat us one time.
I know they act like they won the Super Bowl.
But guess
like
what?
They won a national championship or something.
White chocolate. Hold them last 10 L's and them 2 natties.
Right. But they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that. They never do want to talk about that. At all. But that's all right. Let them have their victory.
Man, this was a great draft, bro.
It was, man. This is better than the first one.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we got the same quarterback and just as many weapons. Yeah, this is by far the better of the 2 drafts.
I agree. Let's see what the grade is. A+, man. I love it.
Let's go.
I absolutely love it, man.
Yeah, man. They didn't love our 3rd round picks, but other than that, they loved everything that we did, man.
Everything. So look, man, I don't want to hold Cody too much longer, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to take another quick break. And when we come back, man, I'm going to drop the phone line down, man. If you guys want to call in and just chat live, it's cool. But yeah, we want to talk a little bit further about this quarterback situation, and I'll get Cody's take on a few other things, and then we'll tap out of here, man. But we'll be back in just a second. Make sure to smash that like button, man. I seen only 68 of y'all hit the like button, and it's been at least 140 of y'all in here at one point or another. So yeah, smash that like button. Let's get this algorithm popping. We will be back in just a minute. Hold it down. Keep it locked. One Carolina will be back in just a moment. I'm Frank Reich, and I look at what this kid does from a processing perspective. Do I know if he can hold up that long? Nope, I don't know. All of it's a crapshoot. You're taking a chance on everybody. But if I'm going to take a chance on anything, any one trait, I'm taking a chance on that. Man, go watch this guy's tape. You can see it for yourself. The level of anticipatory throws is not common. He's different, Key. He is way different.
Way different. Yep.
He's way different.
One Carolina. I'm big on Bryce and the anticipation. Yeah, I'm glad I sold you. I think CJ Stroud has that anticipation too on his film. I really do. But yeah, I'm a big on. I love the way that Bryce Young plays. I just think there is an element of kind of smooth effortlessness that he's able to play in and around, even when it's not. It's one thing to be able to do that in 7-on-7. It's another to be able to do that when you're getting overwhelmed at the line of scrimmage and you got to make plays consistently in the pocket movement, that vibe of it, which is going to be like that on Sundays, that I think is pretty special.
Welcome back, y'all. This is John from the One Carolina Show, joined today on this evening with my homie Cody Lachney from the C3 Panthers Podcast, longest running podcast of the Panthers on YouTube to this point, to this day. And we definitely appreciate you coming through, man. So I think we had a couple of really good mock drafts, Cody. What do you think?
Yeah, man, specifically that second one. Man, we finessed 32 NFL teams with that one. So, yeah, that was a great one. Got D Hop. Got Nolan, got C.J. Stroud, K.J. Henry, got some Clemson players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a great mock draft, man. If we could figure out a way to do something similar. I know we would have everybody tearing out their eyeballs if we traded down to number 4. But yeah, it was a good draft.
I got to be honest with you, Cody. I was hoping that Anthony Richardson would have been the one to fall, but I want to talk about him for a second because obviously when you watch what you saw from him at the combine, you know, the combine hype can be a real thing. You know, I heard, I think you mentioned Adam Schefter mentioned this today, Mr. Lose My Number. But Adam Schefter mentioned this today. He said that, you know, when the 49ers went up, you know, to the top of the draft a couple of years ago to number 4, I think it was, they went up with the intention of drafting Mac Jones and just fell in love with Trey Lance during the interview process and, you know, just kind of seeing him as a person and everything like that. Do you think that there's any chance that what they saw, you know, like Dan said something that made a lot of sense too. He said, if you watch him throw, right, and you take like maybe 1 or 2, looks like we got a call coming in. I'm going to make this last point really quick, and then I'm going to get to this call. Yo, what's up? Who's this? Turn your you got to turn your thing off in the background. Turn off your thing in the background. Looks like they hung up. Anyway, what I'll say is this though, Cody. Like, a couple of catchable passes here and there, you know, it literally can flip your 59% completion percentage all the way up to like 62 or 63, you know, which would make him, you know, obviously more consistent. The thing is, man, is like, I mean, I'd be lying to say that I don't think that this guy, I'm not saying he doesn't have it. I think he can lean on what he doesn't have right now until he develops what he needs because he's just so athletic. But do you think that there's any chance that they see something in him that would make them move up to number 1? Because I will say this, Cody, if he figures it out, if he had even 50% of Bryce's ability of anticipation and being able to see the pressure, I mean, you're talking about 1 of 1. Like,
yeah, I mean, he really does remind me. You know, that year they had Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Like a lot of people looked at what Josh Allen was with all of the tools and the big time arm, the ability to run, and he has better measurables and better athletic traits than even Josh Allen had. You can make the case that there's never been a quarterback with the physical tools that Anthony Richardson has coming into the NFL. And that's fact of the matter. But he is the toughest evaluation in the class because he just hasn't started a lot of football. He hasn't started and played a lot of football. And that's going to be a problem. And when you have a hammer, everything seems to look like a nail.
Yes.
And he really has a hard time with those touch passes, taking some of the oomph off of those throws, not zipping them in so hard. He needs to throw better timing and touch. He has to throw with a little bit better anticipation too, putting the ball in the right window. I mean, all of those things he can definitely do. And I think quarterbacks have done that recently. Josh Allen is someone that cleaned up his footwork, his throwing motion, got much more consistent as time went on. Jalen Hurts is another one that doesn't get enough credit. Every single year got better throwing the football in the NFL. Even Justin Herbert.
Cody, we got a caller. Who's this? All right, White Chocolate. I only got one thing to say, man. Let's try to keep it clean. I got my little girls watching in the background, but let me hear it, man. Go ahead, South Carolina. Nah, that's what's up. I appreciate it, brother.
Are we supposed to be able to hear him?
You can't hear him, Cody?
No, I can't hear him at all.
Can y'all hear him in the chat? Hit a 1 if you can hear White Chocolate in the chat.
No, they don't hear nothing.
What about now?
Is he talking?
Yeah, he's talking.
No, I don't hear him.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Man, I didn't want to hear Kevin no how. Come on, man. You know he's going to say
Hey,
something
Kevin,
dumb about
look.
Clemson and South Carolina.
Kevin, look, here's what I'll do, man, because I know you can hear me. I'll drop the link in the chat, and if you want to come into the on StreamYard, no, they can't hear you. No, they really can't. You can hear me, but they can't. I can hear you, but they can't. Yeah, so I'll drop the link in the chat, and if you want to jump on, man, just hit the link. All right. That's so weird. Like the last time I done this and we did the calls, man, you could hear him clear as a bell. That's why.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why Tony and I have had a hard time doing live calls.
Mhm.
Is because it's just hard to get everyone to be able to hear and be able to respond.
Yeah.
But
go ahead. What
yeah.
were you saying, Cody?
What was I talking about? Anthony Richardson, I think.
Yeah, we're still talking about
Yeah,
Richardson.
I mean, listen, moving up to number 1, in my opinion, is a bad idea because then essentially you're talking about having to start Andy Dalton for a year. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that Anthony Richardson is ready to step up right now and be an NFL quarterback. And that's nothing against Anthony Richardson. By the way, I pretty much think the same thing of Will Levis. I know even though Will Levis came from a pro-style offense, he needs a lot of time to develop and kind of get better going through his progressions and reading the field consistently on a down-to-down basis. So him or Will Levis are not ready right now. So if you're going to trade up to number 1, it has to be for either of the 2 front runners, either CJ Stroud or Bryce Young.
I agree. Kev, what's up, man?
What's up? You hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Don't say nothing slick now.
I'm not. I'm just saying. I was just congratulating y'all on y'all's mock draft. I say it was pretty unrealistic though, because not because you got Stroud at 4, is because y'all drafted a Clemson player, and we all know that's not going to happen.
Man, he's not wrong though. I want to yell at him. I want to holler at him. I want to cuss at him, but he's not wrong. He's not wrong, man. Why don't the Panthers ever draft Clemson players, man? I don't understand, John. I don't understand.
I want to ask you a side question. How in the world did you end up on the news? When I saw Tony share that clip, bro, I about died. That was so funny.
They were. It was at the College of Charleston. They had like a little ceremony for them getting into the tournament,
right?
And they had like a little. You can go in the arena for free, and they had drinks and everything. So I was there. My buddies they went there for school, so they all went.
Man,
and
you see Furman today? That was crazy.
Yeah, I saw Furman.
Yeah.
Well, his team lost today, and it's because of him.
Yeah, I mean, I watched 0 games, but
Yeah, he's a bad fan, and they lost because of you, man.
Yeah, it's Charleston.
All right.
So, no, seriously, outside of the Clemson thing, though, what did you think of the draft?
Well, no, it was good. I was pushing hard for Hopkins, even though I'm a South Carolina fan. I would love Hopkins.
I think that's a realistic trade option, and
Definitely.
It wouldn't surprise me if that happens. But I also think it happens long before the trade. The draft. I think this is something that could happen within the next, day, week, something like that. What do you think about that, Cody?
I mean, I would love for it to have happened already, man. I wanted to see DeAndre Hopkins. Kev knows I've been pounding the table forever for this to happen. I sadly don't know if it will, man. I feel like the best the Panthers could do right now, or just my gut feeling, is that the best they're going to do is DJ Chark. And I'm not even mad at DJ Chark. If we sign DJ Chark, I'm happy to have him. He's had some health concerns. He's never really stayed healthy for, I believe, any season. He hasn't been healthy the entire time.
Yeah.
The questions surrounding him. But listen, I'm obviously hoping for D-Hop. If it happens, it happens. But realistically, I think DJ Chark is probably going to be the guy coming here for us.
When do you think he's going to get traded?
I think it happens. You talking about Chark?
Oh, no, Hopkins.
Oh, honestly, I don't know. I think there's going to be a difference between the Adam Thielen visit and the Chark visit with us. Like, I think because Chark's visiting tomorrow, right, Cody?
Yes.
I think Chark walks away with a deal. I don't think he comes here. And the reason is because I don't think they're going to double dip and then let him walk. And two, he doesn't have the same kind of cachet or leverage because of the injuries that Thielen has. Even though Thielen's an older player, Thielen can still be very – I mean, if Juju can be serviceable for the, Chiefs, I'm pretty sure Thielen's probably going to want to go somewhere like where he can win immediately, not necessarily like over the next 3 or 4 years with us.
He was a second receiver to like the best receiver in the game too. So it's not like he's second receiver to nobody.
Exactly.
And I think depending on how the first round goes with receivers and who falls to the second round, I could see them trading for Hopkins if like Zay Flowers is gone or whoever's in the second.
Y'all just don't know how happy I would be if we got DeAndre Hopkins, man.
Yeah,
like I've been
Listen,
like,
I
dude,
forgot
that was
Maddie.
that was probably like my first Clemson receiver that I like. Oh, that's my guy. I fell in love with Nuke, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's the man.
What did
And
the Patriots pay for Randy Moss? It was like a fourth.
yeah, something like that. But man, especially if we get like a CJ Stroud, I mean him throwing to DeAndre. That's what dreams are made of, man. I would love that.
They have to have a plan
Absolutely
in
love
place.
it. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Okay. I know that I want to circle back to this quarterback situation for a second. Let's just go back to the two that are going to be most likely picked by us. Is there any world where you see Bryce Young holding up for even would you accept this? Let me ask you this. It's kind of the same question that you get from the Stafford, with the Stafford situation. Are you happy because you won the Super Bowl, but still mad because they, the team just kind of fell apart? Would you still take the Super Bowl, or would you rather take consistent success that potentially leads to a Super Bowl?
I'm taking this.
Same here. I mean, that's
Super Bowl.
The thing is, though, with Bryce is this. If Bryce has Cam's career, but it's consistent and he wins us a bowl, I mean, do you take it? Because Cam only, was 8 seasons? Wasn't that with us?
I think so, yeah.
Plus
From 2000, yeah.
11
Yeah, 2011
to 2019.
Or even if it was 5 years. Let's just say he couldn't hold up. Not saying he couldn't hold up, but let's just say that with his body type, it's only going to last 5 years. But the 5 years are completely consistent. It builds a culture for the next person to come in. I mean, because I think sometimes this argument goes, man, we locking up our guy for the next 10 to 15. Man, there's no guarantee in that.
Look at Steve Young. Look at Steve Young with the 49ers. His career wasn't that long.
Yeah.
He was a starter at age 31 for the 49ers.
Right.
So,
and that's what I'm saying. What do you say to that, Cody?
Well, I mean, again, the top two quarterbacks in this year's draft are pocket passers. And if you build the offensive line around them correctly, especially with sports science and how it evolves every single year, and it's getting better and better, and player, health and, just the cold chambers and tanks, it updates all the time, player health and safety. So, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it if you're going to start to continue to see these quarterbacks play 10 to 15, if not more years in the NFL. And I think that if you take care of your quarterback enough, they should be able to do that. And you should expect them to be able to do that. Right. So, and I think that's what kind of scares people about Anthony Richardson too, right? Like we know this with Cam, no matter how big and strong you are, over time, all those hits do add up when you're putting your body in harm's way like that. And it doesn't necessarily make for longevity. So, but then again, Richardson's also a stronger guy than any of the other quarterbacks coming out. So maybe you don't worry about him that much, like the opposite of Bryce, right? He does have the frame to withstand a beating. But I don't know if these quarterbacks are able to take care of themselves and be a passer first and foremost. Yeah, this should be the Panthers' future franchise quarterback for the next decade plus.
I was scared of Anthony Richardson, but the way this team is built right now, and if they get Hopkins, my fears are limited.
Yeah.
I just want to show y'all this real quick because when I talk about the difference between the guys, and this is not just for CJ, this is for everybody, right? Just watch when the rush comes. I mean, he still gets tackled. Actually, I don't think this is the play. It might be this is one of the sacks, but I just want to see how this look like. I mean, he's gonna get blasted a few times.
Yeah,
that's definitely gonna happen. But I think there's something to be said for how you take a hit as well.
Definitely.
Right. And that's part of what I was saying earlier too, John. Like, there's nothing more that you could ask Bryce Young to do, as far as protecting himself and not taking too much damage. Like, I didn't find it to be very often that he was putting himself in harm's way, taking big time shots that you're going to worry about in the future. I mean, he took some big shots, but not often enough for me to be like, oh, well, he's reckless, just putting himself out there in harm's way.
And I mean, the way they're protecting the quarterback nowadays, it's only going to get like even more protection.
This is the one I was looking for. In the red zone, tight game in the Iron Bowl. Now, to evade this pressure is one thing, but to throw a layered pass over top of a linebacker and hit your guy in stride. Look at that. I mean, that is next. I mean, there's probably 4 guys in the NFL that can do that. There's one guy that they tout a lot that struggles sometimes doing that. Sometimes, not all the time. His name's Josh Allen. Josh Allen throws a lot of picks in certain situations like this. And to me, that's, like I said, that's the slight edge. When I'm watching that tape and I'm asking him, because the playmaker thing can come to bite you sometimes when you try, because that's a playmaker move right there. When the pocket collapses like that, a lot of guys will just fold under that pressure. What do? Tuck the ball and take off running. That's what you're going to see probably from Anthony Richardson, especially in his first year.
Yeah.
I just think that's what's going to be the deciding factor when they're sitting down with him, is they're going to be like, man, listen, it's going to be hard to walk away from a guy that would take a chance right there doing that. And there's his tape's littered with that.
He is, man. He's special. He has those Drew Brees traits and qualities.
And that's why I have no problem with trading with Houston. Like, I'm cool with either one of them, CJ or Bryce.
Interesting.
They're both really good, man. I mean, we have one hell of a decision to make.
We have an offensive line.
That's true. We have the ability to help him out in ways that we haven't been able to protect our quarterbacks before.
I'm going to try to take another call real quick. I got someone calling in. I want to see if this actually works.
Okay.
What's up? Who's this? What's up? Who's this? Yo. I can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can't hear anything.
Nah, I don't hear them.
I can drop out and you can just like
Anthony.
People.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, listen. So they can't hear you in the chat. I'm actually going to turn the phone line off, but I'm going to drop the link. Kevin's going to drop out, and you just come in. All right, cool. All right, man. Having technical difficulties tonight with the phone, but it is what it is. But yeah, Anthony's going to tap in with us here in a second. But like I said, the thing is, man, is these anticipatory throws, man, it's just different. But it's, Cody, when you look at him, he's tiny, bro. He is small.
He is, man. And again, John, I've said this on Twitter a long time ago now, that both things can be true. That Bryce Young is an insanely talented quarterback prospect with a special arm, special processing, special pocket maneuverability, understanding where pressure is coming from, setting protections, all these different things. And it is also true that him being 5'10" and a half, a $190 soaking wet is worrisome. It just is. And then point being, like, okay, I don't like the comparison between Bryce Young and Tua Tagovailoa. I just don't. I think Bryce is a much better player than Tua. But what I don't want is 4 years down the road, CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson are balling out, and meanwhile the Panthers are an up and down team because when Bryce is on the field, we're looking incredible, but has a hard time staying healthy, and then just isn't on the field.
Anthony,
I'm not saying that will happen. That's just my fear.
Anthony, before you go, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. What's up, Cody?
What's up, Anthony?
Before you go, let me just set a ground rule. My little girls watch the show, so just make sure to keep it clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the other thing is this: I want to say something to Cody really quick that's going to probably make him really happy. So check this out. I understand your position on that, Cody, but I will say this: number one, we've seen Frank Reich win games with subpar quarterback play. Right. Well, I ain't gonna say subpar. I'm gonna say Phillip Rivers had a great season under him. Carson Wentz had a solid season under him. And he was winning games, despite not having a top tier quarterback, if you will. But what I will say is this though, I think there's a reason why they sent PJ packing. Right. Pause. I really believe I think they like Matt Corral. I really do. I think they like Matt Corral, and I think they believe that Matt Corral is a backup. And they, obviously they brought in Andy Dalton. That's for the veteran presence. But I think I really believe they like Corral, and I'd be interested to see what that looks like going into camp. I'm not saying that he would beat out whoever they choose first, but what I am saying is that there's an opportunity that exists here for him in the event that you have injury situations similar to what we saw with Brock, last year with San Francisco.
John, so Anthony knows I'm a big time Matt Corral fan, but I disagree with you, man. And you want to know why I disagree with you? The fact that you bring in Andy Dalton, like, in my opinion, the Panthers have no future plans for Matt Corral. They just don't, and that pains me to say it because I really do think that he has legit upside, man. Mm-hmm. I like what Matt Corral can do, but you're moving up to number one, and you sign Andy Dalton. I mean, unless there's going to be another Brock Purdy where 2 injuries happen in front of him, which, by the way, the Carolina Panthers did play 4 quarterbacks last year, so crazier things have happened. But I don't know. I just don't see a lot of, this coaching staff really giving him too much of a chance at the next level. I know Anthony wanted to say something, but I did want to mention before, because it's fresh off the tip of my mind. Does it worry anyone Bryce Young's drop? You notice how he backpedals. Like, he doesn't have a normal drop compared to other quarterbacks.
I would say no.
Like, watch how he
just kind of runs back. Yeah.
Kind of like walks backward in a sense. You don't see that a lot.
Rodgers does.
Quarterbacks.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Rodgers does it.
He did say Aaron Rodgers is his favorite quarterback growing up.
That's interesting. Okay. I didn't know that, Anthony.
I didn't know that.
He said that they were interviewing him in or not interviewing. They did some like TikTok, and that's what he said. Mm-hmm. But
Anthony, let me hear from you, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me on. I know we've been talking on Twitter a little bit, but this is my QB1 right here, and I love both guys. I really do. But I think there's some intangibles that Bryce has that are really hard to teach. And I think he could come in right away and distribute the ball and be a great player for us. The other thing I wanted to say, Cody, I think we should just keep Matt Corral and let him play in the preseason and then, bring his value up. Like, we could potentially get a solid pick for him. Like, imagine if, he does play good and a team calls and says, would you like a late 3rd round pick next year, I mean, that'd be awesome. But this is my QB1. Like, and John really got me on this train from his last stream with Panthers Playbook. And I think that if you're going to take a risk on something, this is the stuff you take a risk on, because I still believe that every player can get injured no matter what their height and weight is. I mean, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I love Cam Newton, but even he got injured from time to time in the pocket. So I really think it's all kind of a crapshoot, like John has said.
I agree with that. And because when you talk like the TJ Watt hit, I mean, that was a in the pocket, smashed shoulder, and that pretty much changed Cam's career, from that point forward. He just never really had the same torque on the ball, after that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it can happen. I mean, it's football, you know what I'm saying? So it's hard to, it's hard to gauge. I mean, and like I said, he is small, man, but he's density wise, he's going to shape out. My guess is that he'll probably be in the next 3 years about the same size as PJ Walker. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at, like I said, I pointed this out earlier. If you go and look at PJ's tape just from the aesthetics, not looking at the playbook or anything else that, Bryce brings to the table, just the aesthetics. PJ never really had the kind of problems that like a Baker has with like batted balls and things like that. And if I'm not mistaken, Cody, you can help me out with this. Doesn't Justin Herbert have a high batted ball percentage? Like,
yeah, he does.
And with him, that's why that prototypical size is so important, because with a taller guy, they struggle with throwing because they can't high point. I mean, they can't like over arc the ball like a lot of the shorter guys can.
Right.
Because
they kind of have to bring it down.
Absolutely. Yes.
Did y'all know that Bryce had the fewest batted balls out of all 4 of these prospects?
I mean, to me, batted balls is a complete non-issue. Like I completely agree. To me, it's not like, short quarterbacks get their balls batted at the line of scrimmage. It's not that to me. It's
say it again. They what happened? They get their what? Batted.
Their footballs batted at the line of scrimmage is what I was meaning. But Bryce is again, like when you talk about his pocket maneuverability, his ability to move around and ever so subtly step to the left and right and be able to adjust the angle of his throws. He does the Patrick Mahomes arm angle throw type thing where he can do those off-platform throws, incredible footwork. I mean, he can do it all. And, you said this before the show. I don't think you said it during the show about what Shannon Sharp said. You said that if Bryce Young isn't successful, or he said that if Bryce Young is not successful in the NFL, it won't be because of his height and weight. Well, I disagree with that. I think that is why he would be unsuccessful, just because he does everything else so well. Like, I don't see Bryce Young having a problem reading NFL defenses. I don't see him having a problem fitting the ball into tight windows. I don't see him, have a problem checking protection at the line of scrimmage. Bryce Young does all those things. The only thing, like I said, that worries me, and I think it should worry everyone on some level, is his body going to be able to hold up to a certain amount of NFL batter, just because it's, that's going to wear and tear on you over time. And maybe he's able to bump up to 215 pounds. I know you said PJ Walker, and maybe, that's an ideal situation. But also, like I said, he's a smaller guy. I don't know how much more functional muscle he's going to fit on his frame in a couple of years. I somehow don't ever see him pushing like 220 pounds.
Tell me if you can hear this.
Young will be measured officially later.
Can you hear that?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
This week, the NFL Combine. Shannon, what do you think? Do you have any doubts about Bryce Young's height?
No. Someone was throwing that ball at Alabama. Whether he's 6 foot or 5'10", some 5'10", 6 foot guy won the Heisman Trophy. Some 5'10", 6-foot guys get through the most touchdown passes, the most passing yards in a single season in Alabama history. And we know how rich the history is in Alabama. Somebody did all that. And he did it playing in the highest conference in all of football. The SEC puts more players in the NFL. They had more players going to the NFL scouting combine than any other conference. They're built up skill. If Bryce Young does not succeed in the NFL, it will not be because of his height. Because there have been a lot of 6'5", 6'6" quarterbacks that were terrible.
There it is. I couldn't agree more. I know. Cody, I hear you. I mean, when you're moving.
So let me ask you that. Let me turn the question back on you, Big John.
Go ahead.
If Bryce Young is not successful in the NFL, why will it be because of?
If Bryce Young is not successful in the NFL, it will be, in my opinion, because there is a okay. Let me flesh this out.
Okay.
If Bryce Young is not successful in the NFL, it'll be because there is a rift between his playmaking. Like they can't get him to pull it back. They can't get him to torque it back, right? He's a playmaker. Historically, playmakers make mistakes, especially early. So if his confidence becomes shot early because of his playmaking innate ability, which is what makes him the player that he is, and they can't get him to play within the structure of the offense, that's going to be the deciding factor, which I think could be for all of these guys, right? I think some of these guys are going to benefit from that. Like for instance, if they were to take a flyer on Richardson, I believe this coaching staff can make Richardson look like a rock star. Like, I believe that if he went anywhere else, similar to how, Shanahan done with, Matt Ryan, Matt Ryan was an MVP. Their offense was like virtually unstoppable that year, man. And then he went away and they literally fell off a cliff. And so to me, I think that with Bryce has such a high, like Anthony mentioned, a high football acumen that if you can't get him to play within the structure of an offense, that would be his biggest flaw. Not his height, not his size. With that being said, though, look who his coach was. Bill O'Brien. The stuff that they were running there, Cody, it's pretty high-level stuff for
it's NFL concepts.
Yeah.
Because of how it ended in Houston, people love to kind of trash Bill O'Brien. But Bill O'Brien, he knows his football, and he's a really good offensive mind. And yeah, he was giving NFL concepts to Bryce Young. Okay. But you see, like that's what I'm saying, though, John. Mm-hmm. He does those things so well. He plays inside the structure of the offense so well. That's one of his best attributes. Like, he is a maestro behind that offensive line.
He really
and like
is.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see that falling off of a cliff when he gets into the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I disagree with Shannon. If he isn't successful in the NFL, to me, it has nothing to do with the amount of talent or the arm talent or any of those other quarterbackial type of things. Mm-hmm. To me, it's just the size, and is his body going to hold up to an NFL schedule? And no one knows the answer to that. To his credit, he was not injured very often at Alabama. He had one shoulder injury, but he was going out of bounds, and he landed wrong on his elbow. It kind of jacked his shoulder up a little bit. He missed one game, I believe, and then he was good to go.
What's up?
I want to ask you a question, Anthony, and then somebody said to ask that same question about Stroud, and I'll get to that. But Anthony, sure. I want to ask you a question, because sometimes recency bias can rob us. If Tua Tagovailoa never put on an Alabama jersey and we never saw that head injury, would we even be having this conversation?
I don't think so.
I don't either. I think that's the reason, because we've seen short quarterbacks work. Like, go ahead.
So my thing with Tua is, right, I don't remember him. I don't remember seeing him in college, being able to improvise as well as Bryce Young has been. I think he was just more of a pocket passer. Now, Bryce Young is that too, but I think that's one of Bryce Young's biggest selling points is that he hasn't gotten injured because he kind of knows how to protect his body. And, Tua's injuries were concussions. He was injury prone in college for sure, but the reason he's having trouble in the NFL is because of his head, not because of, he's too small or anything like that. I just think that if Bryce Young checks all the boxes, this is why he's on number one of all these big boards. I think that if you can get over the size and the fact that he probably will be able to, with the training staff and with the medical staff, like you mentioned earlier, able to put on some more pounds, and we have a good offensive line, I think this will work. I think we just got to go pistol formation with him more, play more shotgun. I think he's going to be in shotgun formation a lot. That's truly what I think. I mean, I love Stroud, man. I'll be fine with both of these guys. I've seen what Bryce Young can do with no receivers being drafted in the first 4 rounds. And I like how he doesn't have to turn to his coach, to see, you've seen that, what I'm talking about, like when a quarterback will turn to his coach in college and like the coach will kind of tell him what to do on this play or whatever. Like Bryce just knows what to do before the play's even happening. And that's kind of why, you guys were saying his drop back is a little deep. It's because I think he drops back and then he just fires the ball. Like he knows where he's going immediately.
Cody, I'm going to let you run this question for just a second. I have got used to bathroom so bad. I'll be right back in just 1 second, but y'all keep going.
Yeah. Well, so I'll kind of do with the chat room. One.
Dude, I know the chat room probably hating on me right now.
No, dude, most people are with you, Anthony. A lot of people really like Bryce Young. And most of the people that like CJ also like Bryce Young. They just feel more comfortable with CJ being bigger and the fact that he can do a lot of those things that we're talking about Bryce Young doing. CJ Stroud can also do some of those things. But if we're going to talk about why CJ Stroud might not be successful in the NFL, and Anthony, I told you this when we were when we did our little film watch last Sunday, that the Ohio State offense, they take advantage of all the time on the clock, meaning they will wait. The coaches at Ohio State, they will take all the time necessary to watch the defense, see what position, what formation they're in, and then they're changing the play literally with 7 seconds left before the ball has to be snapped. I'm worried that if CJ Stroud isn't successful in the NFL, it's because the pace of the NFL game is a little too much for him to start. That, the timing and the rhythm of and being able to be in control of the offense on your own, that's something that he's going to have to take a little bit of time to get better at doing. Go ahead.
I mean, I totally agree, and it's not to say Stroud. Stroud is your prototypical pocket passer. Like he has the touch, he has the accuracy, he has all those things. So when you're just looking at him from that point of view, yes, he's a quarterback that you would like to draft. Now, I just think that he probably will need to sit a couple games. For sure. I truly believe that. I think he'll probably have to sit because, like I said earlier, he's looking at Ryan Day to kind of tell him what to do on this play. I fell in love with Bryce Young. I mean, you know me and G Baby have been like on this Bryce Young train for like over a year now, and pretty much it was the Auburn game last year that really, or 2 years ago, that really got me. Like he doesn't fold under pressure, and there was a quote that I saw that I was watching a video on this, and it was like, if I made 6'4" guys afraid of me, or it was like, if I made 6'4" guys afraid of, I can't remember what the quote was, but I have to find it. But it was basically saying like there are 6'4" defenders afraid of Bryce Young, like when he plays, like they know what he brings to the table. So I really think that he has that poise. He has that it factor. Like no moment's too big for him. But again, like it's a very hard conversation because I think the only way they would pass on Bryce Young is if they are truly concerned about his size. But I've also come to the mindset that like kind of like John, like ever since I watched that John's video last week, which was an awesome video, guys. If you guys haven't seen,
thank you, brother.
Yeah, for sure. I really do think there were some backdoor conversations. Like I really believe that. I think I said this multiple times. I'm not going to name the people that I talked to, but 2 guys told me that they spoke with Fitter back in November, and they asked him, who do you like in these this upcoming class of quarterbacks? And he gave him the typical coach speak, like, well, we're going to evaluate everyone. But then he ended with, well, Bryce Young is very special. So like, there's no doubt in my mind that this coaching staff is considering taking him number 1. I don't buy all the smokescreen rumors that CJ is the lock. I think it's too early for that. I think any rumor comes out like that, if there's not a consensus Trevor Lawrence in this draft.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I have to say on that.
I'll say this, man, and Cody, I'll give you the floor for a second. Man, if all things that we're talking about, if you take, and this could go for either one of these guys, right? But let's just say with Bryce specifically, when we talk about all those intangibles and all the things that he can do, culminating, into one, do you realize? I think this is why I'm so big on Bryce, Cody, and anybody else in the chat. I said this on my last live. Andy Reid was able to go to 5 straight NFC championship games with Donovan McNabb, make a Super Bowl with Donovan McNabb, make the playoffs with Michael Vick off of his, situation, make the playoffs a couple of times with Alex Smith. And then he got Patrick Mahomes. And it looks like now that Andy Reid could easily become Kansas City's version of Chuck Noll, Kansas City's version of Bill Walsh, this later in his career, after all this winning that he's already done. If Bryce is as advertised, and you have this coaching staff that we've put together here with guys that aren't necessarily going to want to move, like I said, Ejiro Evero, I don't think there's a situation where he just bolts and gets a job right away. You want to know why? Because if what we did is successful by bringing in Frank Reich, every other team that copies us is going to want to go get the hot offensive coordinator. They're going to want to go get Ben Johnson. They're going to want to go get, whoever the next, guy is, Eric Bieniemy, you name it, right? So the defensive head coach is not necessarily going to be the guy that, jumps off the board. So there's going to be some cohesiveness. That's one right there. So to have this kind of coaching staff, and I'm not saying this is going to happen in a year, but what I am saying is that if this hits, if this works, we don't just dominate the NFC South for a long time. You will literally have a lot of teams, because a lot of teams in the NFC are not going to be bad enough to get Drake May, Caleb Williams, right? You're going to have teams chasing after Carolina for years, not just in our division, in the NFC. And to me, that's why if the traits are what they are, this is the best possible situation for him to fall into. And it's the best possible situation for us. And we could really dominate for a long time to come. What do you think of that, Cody?
I mean, listen, I for the most part agree with it. I think there is a path to success for the Panthers with a lot of these quarterbacks. I think that this coaching staff, first and foremost, is why I have that kind of faith that these guys have, as I mentioned before, 11 Super Bowl rings amongst them. So I mean, these guys know what they're doing. But also, the minds that we have, the former quarterbacks that we have on this coaching staff. I mean, look at the mentorship that whoever we end up drafting is going to have. They're going to have Frank Reich, a former NFL quarterback, Andy Dalton, a former NFL quarterback. Say what you want about him, but Andy was really good for the Cincinnati Bengals for a number of years.
He was,
right?
Yeah.
Then Josh McCown has played so much football. He's played for just about every NFL team you can imagine. He knows what he's talking about. They know how to evaluate talent. So at the end of the day, while this might be a hard discussion for Panther fans, I'm kind of in the mindset of whoever these coaches settle on, I'm willing to trust them enough that, all right, they're going to figure this out. That they've got the guy that they feel is going to be able to go the furthest in their offense. And I'm going to trust them on that decision. Now, maybe Will Levis I might be kind of upset with if that happens. But again, hey, I'm going to get over it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a Panthers fan, man. I'm going to get over it. I'm going to be here no matter what. But
and listen, I heard Tony say, like, I won't put this on him that he is a Will Levis fan, but he said something that I honestly kind of agree with. I don't think that it's so hard to gauge with Will Levis, because let me tell you what I think about that guy, man. Like, I know that the college situation was not as favorable for him. You know, he could turn out to be a better pro than he ever was a college player. And that happens. But his measurables, the type of quarterback that he is, I mean, it could hit. It very well could hit. And they very well may have I'll say, I want Bryce Young. The consensus is that it's CJ Stroud. But I think the majority of people would probably be okay, like you said, Cody, after the initial impact, that if they did take a Will Levis, we would trust because of who's in the room.
Yeah. Except for YB Jordan. Yeah. YB Jordan, he'd be doing backflips and flipping away from the Panthers. Shout out Jordan. But yeah, man, like I said, I trust his staff. I think we could do some big things. But yeah, man, I think we're on the right path.
I do too, man. So I have very much enjoyed myself tonight, guys. And you know, I'm not going to hold you guys much longer. We're going to go ahead and tap out, man. It's been going 2 hours. But I do want to acknowledge quite a few people that have tapped in with us. Shout out to my man, YB Jordan, man. Love that dude. Sideshow, shout out to you, man. Riz B, Alex Mex Pro, Brandon Cawthon, Morgie, Alex. Wait, I said that already. Man, they were going crazy in the chat. I don't see Quandale. I saw Panther Pickle in here for a little while, man. Big Spence 20. Yeah, man. I love politicking with all you guys, man, because you know, it's fun to just kind of have a community of, you know, different thoughts. You know, I kind of live by the philosophy, if everybody's thinking the same thing, then no one's thinking, you know. So it's like, you know, it's fun to be able to, you know, dialogue with each other about our, you know, opinions and just, you know, kind of see where the chips fall, because, you know, obviously we're just fans, man. Like, that's all I am at the end of the day. I'm not claiming to be anybody that has any inside information or anything like that. Although I will say that report that I did a video on for Cody was pretty dang accurate. So y'all need to give Cody his flowers, man. You know what I'm saying? But
appreciate you, John.
As I was saying, man, I'm just a fan, you know, just like the rest of us, man. And so, Cody, tell them where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, man, you can find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. You can find me every Tuesday night at 9 and every Friday night at 7 on the C3 Panthers Podcast, man. We've been going strong, doing great numbers recently. The show's been very successful. And hey, by the way, if you have listened to this entire show, show John some love and hit that like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell every single time the man goes live. I'm a firm believer Panther content creators should help and support other Panther content creators. Had 150 people in here tonight, man. We had a pretty good showing. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah, man. You know, I love talking with you, John. Anytime you'd like me to come back and rap with you, man, you know I'm here at the drop of a hat, man.
Absolutely, Anthony, man. I understand that you. I think you got some content going now, man. Tell us where we can find you.
Yeah. First, I want to say thank you both. Thank you both. Thank you, John, for allowing me to come on. Your show's awesome, and so I'm on Twitter. You can find me at Panthers Central. You know, I'm an up and coming YouTuber. On YouTube, you can find me at Panthers Central Podcast. I'm going to be posting more content as the weeks go on. I just got to update my software, do a little, you know, things with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And whoever we draft, I will be happy because I love this coaching staff, man.
Yeah, so, let us know when you get up and running, man. We'll plug you, and I'd love to come through sometime.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, fellas, this has been real. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself, man. And as you know, we like to make sure that we, shout out everybody and let y'all know how thankful we are that you guys show up for us, for all the different content creators that, that do this, that put their time into this and their energy and effort just to be able to talk about, our favorite team, man, the team we root for, the Carolina Panthers. So with that being said, man, make sure to keep love and Christ in your heart. Keep your mind straight, stay prayed up, and keep pounding.
Keep pounding.